Can justice ever be served through revenge? This is a question that echoes in the story of Gary Plosh, a dedicated Air Force member turned news cameraman. Life took a devastating turn when Gary was confronted with the gut-wrenching news that his son had fallen prey to the sinister deeds of Jeff Doucet. Imagine the shock that ripples through a father's heart, the anguish that gnaws at his soul upon the revelation of such a horrific ordeal. As Gary grappled with his son's trauma, his world crumbled around him. The laughter in their home was replaced with hushed whispers and tear-streaked faces. The pain was palpable, the anger searing. And amidst all this, Gary found himself standing at the precipice of a decision that would forever change their lives.
In the face of such a nightmare, what would you do?
On March 16, 1984, an act of revenge was captured on live television. In the heart of Louisiana at the Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport, a scene unfolded that would leave a permanent mark on the tapestry of American crime history. The protagonist of this chilling saga was a man named Gary Plosh, a former Air Force member and news cameraman, who found himself on the precipice of a decision that would change his life forever. The object of his wrath, Jeff Doucet, had inflicted an unthinkable crime against his son Jody. The rage and despair boiling within Gary had reached a fever pitch. On that fateful day, as Jeff Doucet was being escorted by law enforcement, Gary seized the moment. He pulled out his revolver and with a single deafening shot, exacted his revenge. The aftermath was a chaotic whirlwind of shock and disbelief. The echoes of the gunshot still hung in the air as people scrambled to make sense of what had just transpired. Police officers rushed to apprehend Gary, while paramedics fought a losing battle to save Doucet's life. Meanwhile, society watched, transfixed, as this drama unfolded on their television screens. Some recoiled in horror at the brutal act of vigilante justice. Others, however, found themselves empathizing with a father pushed to his limits. The public's reaction was as divided as it was intense, sparking debates about the nature of justice and the lengths a parent would go to protect their child. In the heat of the moment, Gary Plosh chose revenge over justice. But was this revenge or justice served? In the aftermath of this shocking event, Gary Plosh, a former Air Force member and news cameraman, faced the scales of justice. The court's gavel hung heavily in the air, determining the fate of a father who took a dark path to protect his child. The public, however, rallied around him. They saw not a cold-blooded killer, but a parent driven to the edge, a guardian whose love for his son knew no bounds. Yet, the law was not blind to his actions. Despite the wave of public support, Plosh was handed a sentence, 5 years of probation and community service. A punishment, some would argue, was light compared to the crime he committed. But what of Jody Plosh, the young boy at the heart of this tragedy? The trauma of his ordeal didn't end there. It followed him, a shadow that refused to be shaken off. Jody continued to grapple with the emotional scars, a battle that extended far beyond the courtroom and the public eye. The line between justice and revenge, it seems, can often blur. Years have passed since that fateful day, but the question remains. As we delve deeper into the final chapter of this story, we find ourselves grappling with the intricate web of human emotions. Revenge, a word that triggers a cascade of sentiments, a surge of adrenaline. For Gary Plosh, it was an answer to his son's haunting trauma. It was a father's desperate plea for justice. Yet what is justice? Isn't it a concept as varied as the people who seek it? For some, justice is served in a courtroom, in the form of sentences and verdicts. But for others, like Plosh, justice was the echo of a gunshot in an airport terminal. It was a moment of retaliation, a moment suspended in time, broadcasted live for the world to witness. The story of Gary Plosh illuminates the blurred lines between justice and revenge. It compels us to question our own understanding of right and wrong. It confronts us with the chilling fact that sometimes the law might seem inadequate in the face of raw human pain. Yet, as we reflect on this heart-wrenching tale, we must also consider the repercussions of Plosh's actions. The ripple effects of his revenge didn't just stop at that gunshot, it reverberated through his life, his son's life, and the lives of those who watched it unfold. In the end, can revenge ever truly bring justice? Or does it only perpetuate a cycle of pain and violence? That, dear viewers, is for you to decide.